Hello and welcome to the Crypto Insider interview. I am Vlad and my guest today is Elizabeth Powell, works for Steemit. And if you have been in the space for quite some time, you know that Steemit is like a social network which rewards you with a proprietary cryptocurrency called Steem. It also has something which resembles a stable coin, which is called the Steem dollar. But I will let her explain much more about it because I haven't used Steemit as much as I would have liked. So hello.
Hi, Vlad. How are you? Thank you for having me on your show. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I know. I remember there was a time when I would recommend to people to use Steemit as a replacement for Facebook in the middle of that Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Definitely.
So what's new in terms of Steemit? Have you released anything exciting in the last few months?
So there's a lot of excitement going on with Steemit. I think one of the just most current trends that is very exciting is the price of Steem. So, you know, the bear market has affected everyone, and it's just been nice to see that Steem has been gradually over the last couple of weeks really making some strides as far as their value. And so I hope that that only continues to increase for us. But really just go back to what has been going on at Steemit for the last couple of months. You can also check out our blog, which would really give you way more details than we need to go into for this call. But with the bear market I want to say it was around right after the Thanksgiving holiday here, so the end of November. With the way the market was taking, we had really staffed up a lot because we were doing a lot of research and development on some other projects, and really needed to take a step back and decide what it is we needed to prioritize because with again, the market, the price of Steem. Many people may not know that we weren't actually making any money. We weren't running any advertising. We basically funded everything through programmatic selling of our Steem. And so obviously with the pricing going down, that value was also coming dramatically down. So we made some tough decisions and had a significant layoff at the end of November, beginning of December, and really had to focus on what were the immediate areas that we could focus on cost cutting first and foremost. So really think about this thrive mode. And then where could we create revenue versus solely being dependent on the programmatic selling of Steem. For example, if the value were to ever hit zero, well, then there you have it. So what we've been working on since December are cost reductions, because what a lot of people don't know is that with our open source and our blockchain, we have we have a lot of APIs, a lot of nodes running on our blockchain, our technology. We are basically fronting the Amazon Web Services cost to host all of this. And it became, with the more users on the site, the more third-party apps, just the more traffic and volume, we were spending at anywhere as high as $120,000 a month on our Amazon Web Services bill. So that was, imagine, spending that much every month and not really had taken the time to optimize. It was always on one of our lists of to-dos is to look at how can we reduce this infrastructure cost through AWS. So the engineering team worked very hard at finding ways to bring this cost down. One of those with our blockchain team is utilizing RocksDB. So coming up with our own database that can take all of the social content off of the blockchain and put it more on a database infrastructure. So we're calling that Mira. We have been able to reduce our infrastructure costs almost in half at this point. So that's been great. We really hit some milestones sooner than later. So everything that I'm going to talk about today as far as delivering products that we're shipping. One would be Mira, which is still in progress. We're still optimizing and tuning that, but it should be wrapped up and live for everyone to use in a couple of weeks. The other thing that is different, we've started advertising. So Steemit.com gets a lot of great traffic, not just from daily page views, but just our monthly impressions, our unique visitors. We really do have great traffic. And for the longest time, we didn't want to incorporate advertising because we wanted to really make Steemit.com a different experience than a Facebook or a Reddit or Twitter, where users are bombarded by advertising. But again, as a company, in order to survive, we needed to bring in some decent revenue, and even the community was very supportive. We were thinking that when we did start implementing or even considering advertising, that there would be some pushback from the community, but it's been very receptive. It's still in the works. We first initiated it with a basic Google AdSense program that we've done very little to optimize at all, and we're getting consistent daily traffic and daily income from that program. And then we have started our own selling our customized ad programs. There's a media kit on Steemit.com on the menu that folks can look at. So we are seeing a lot of appeal, a lot of desire from different crypto-centric companies wanting to advertise on Steemit. It's still in its infant stage, and so we're just testing things out right now. One of the things that also needed to happen was to separate the wallets. As you may recall, on Steemit.com, when you sign up for your Steem account, that also gives you your master password, your Steem crypto password, so your wallet keys, and then you have your posting key that you use to post on the social part of the website. So one thing that we needed to do to incorporate advertising to logged in users, excuse me, because if they are logged in, we wanted to just be cognizant that some people may be logging in with their master or their Steem keys, their wallet keys. So we wanted to be sure that everything was secure from a financial standpoint. And so we are actually splitting the wallet from the social site. So it's actually, we did a soft launch last week. And so the wallet will be on its own separate domain, where in order to blog or be active on Steemit.com, you'll need to use your posting keys. So separating the wallet out was actually on our run list probably 18 months ago, but it just never happened because of shifting priorities. So happy to report that that has happened very quickly. So I feel like, if people look back at the history of, take, for example, communities or SMTs, those things have been delayed over the last 18 months to 2 years. We are now focusing on all of those things, Steemit.com related. So improving, again, the security by splitting out the wallets. And then there will be very soon some UX changes to just improve the overall user experience. Because retention is an issue, as you know. I mean, there are some things about Steemit.com that it's hard to get up and running, and as a new user, it's hard to sort of break into the regimen of posting regularly, but then also the rewards and how does that work, and Steem Power, and getting people to upvote you, and finding the right communities to be part of. And so we really are focusing next on improving the overall user experience of Steemit.com. So again, the better the experience is, the more people will stay, the more people will encourage their followers to come join us at Steemit.com. And that'll be just an even better incentive for advertisers to want to run really premium ads. And just all in all, it's just going to be a great place for people to come hang out.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, in the last few months, you have saved on revenue and made a better financial plan. You have improved on the security, and you have worked on the interface, which I guess are all essential points. And something that I want to ask you about, and I remember back in November that a few Bitcoiners whom I follow were speaking of the end of Steemit, and were saying that just like every project that Daniel Larimer has started, this is going to collapse and fail as a project. I guess if the price is going up and you have created a sustainable business plan, it's going to strive in the future. What is your vision for Steemit right now?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And great summary. Now I feel like I was super long-winded in my answer to you. But yeah, so where we are right now is still survive mode, but we are very quickly, and even, I am looking forward to the next 12 months from a thrive perspective. So how can we take this platform to the next level? And I really see there's several things. One is community involvement. So we have a very rare, dedicated, loyal, just a fabulous community that's just built in. I mean, it's everyone has been so great and supportive, and we all have the same interest at heart, is to make Steem the best blockchain and Steemit the best platform it can possibly be. So looking forward is definitely making, what are some quick sort of low-hanging fruit improvements to Steemit.com. Like I said, from a user interface, there are a lot of community pull requests. We have our open source GitHub. We have just a handful, I know 20 plus very good ideas for simple functions and features that we are going to really evaluate and take that community input, take their code. So for example, if someone has, which I'm pretty sure there's a plugin for a search feature. Search is one of the biggest things, the community asks for is our search functionality just isn't there, but someone has already created this plugin, so let's just implement it. And then all of a sudden we now have a great search plugin. Other things like notifications or, and again, communities, things like that. So really engaging the community and tapping into the wonderful talent that we have at our fingertips is first and foremost a priority. And I think that's just going to make it so much better for everyone. The community's involved. We're making progress so much quicker and better. And then again, like I said, really creating an ad experience that's hopefully different from what we, typically see from, a Facebook or a Reddit. Trying to be cognizant of the advertisers that we take on. I want to make sure that the content is relevant, that people are being served the right ads. So yeah, focusing on just improving the overall API, improving advertising, improving the stickiness of the site, improving the user experience to help with retention. So it's all things Steemit.com, and obviously, our maintenance and work on the blockchain as well.
So I still have on my phone two of the apps. One of them is called Steamify and was a notification system that I was using at the time, because I know that the main website system doesn't incorporate any type of notifications, or not like this to let you know whenever you get a new comment or whenever somebody re-steams your article. And also I have eSteam, which is a very buggy application that I stopped using sometime in March, I think, because it gets stuck a lot and it's a lot better to just open Steam from the browser.
Right. So when you said March, are you talking about this?
Oh, March 2018.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, wait, are we in March? So I want to say that eSteam has relaunched or have made, that was the search function I was referring to. I want to say they've made significant improvements to that. And so we will be considering looking that as a possible plugin to use. So I would check them out again. But yeah, it's all of those types of things that if people have already developed it, written the code, and all we need to do is just review it and approve it, then those are the types of things that we're going to look to do. Again, community involvement goes a long way, but then just moving things along at a much quicker speed. I mean, still being safe and conscious of what we're doing, but just really getting stuff done. That's our goal.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about, I remember, it's something that I remember when I was using Steemit, and there was this guy called Bernie Sanders who was always criticizing the system of distributing the Steem tokens. And he was always saying that there are some whales who have too much and they're not giving away unless they are friends within their circle. And I was wondering if the situation in the meantime, because at the time it was still a very new social network, and I guess the early adopters had that advantage of accumulating many more coins. And has the system changed in any way?
No, it has not. So you still have your very large whales. You know, there's a key, you know, at least a good 100 or more whales, key stakeholders. And that's part of the things. I think the community has always been working on that. And so, you know, Bernie Sanders aside, I think if we can, again, that's part of the retention and the onboarding of new users is how do we figure the system out so that it is a fair, open playing field for everyone? And really it all goes down to content. I mean, the people that are creating the best content should be rewarded for that. And so I really do think once communities come online, that is going to hopefully just self-pace that whole issue of minnows versus whales.
Yeah, I remember in December 2017 that I posted an article which was a review of the new Star Wars movie, but it didn't include any spoilers. And somehow within 24 hours, I got about $100 worth of Steem for that article. And I was very excited. I started to write more about Star Wars, and I thought, you know, I hit the sweet spot. I found my audience, but it never really happened. I don't know what was so special about that article. Maybe it was found by somebody who owns a lot of Steem and he voted for it and then sent it to his friends or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, there needs to be more method to the madness, so that you know you can create this more consistent. But you know, it's a lot of things too with communities. You know, at that point, you would be, you know, you could be the moderator of the Star Wars community on Steemit.com, and then you know you're bringing in all these great content curators underneath you and monitoring the conversations and things like that. So I really think, again, you know, once communities come online, there'll be more rhyme and reason to all of this, just because you will have that top moderator versus I just posted this random thing and I got 100 Steem and I don't know why I posted something that was really thoughtful and long and it got, you know, nothing. So as part of the onboarding process, those are definitely things that are top priority to help people, you know, everyone understand like this is, you're going to get rewarded for great content. And great content, you know, is relative to, you know, what I may think is great versus what you may think is great. So again, it's the idea is to create this open source, you know, wonderful online application where you can create a community, create content, and be rewarded for it.
I think something else that you should focus on, and this is some type of personal feedback, is you should promote more of the voting system for witnesses. And I guess the witnesses are the equivalent of block producers in this proof of stake system. And when I first started, I was not aware about this. I had no idea what's going on. I had no idea why the system was governed in a certain way or why there were some decisions that were taking place at the time. And then I started digging into, and I found Marky Mark, who was specialized in bots at the time, creating all sorts of automated services to roost Steem according to topics and stuff like that. And I thought that was cool, but
Yeah.
I didn't really get into voting. And I think that's essential to make sure that there is some kind of change or you have more accountability on behalf of these influential leaders of the network.
Sorry, you kind of cut out at the end.
Which part was the last one that you heard?
Back to Marky Mark, as far as just, explaining better communications about the whole witness governance process.
Oh yeah, you should just promote in a more comprehensive way that people should be voting, and it's important for them to follow the campaigns that some users are undergoing sometimes, and make sure that there's not a fixed system of elites, so they become much more accountable and much closer to the user, and don't think that they are at the top and they can do whatever they want, because nobody really cares about their position, and they're going to be there at the top for the rest of the existence of Steemit.
Yes, I agree. I made a note that says we need better communication, explanation of how the whole witness voting and governance works. So I agree, because when I first came to Steemit, didn't really understand, and there really wasn't, we have a very thorough FAQ section on the website, but it doesn't really go into detail about that particular part of it.
It's also very long. I'm looking at it right now. There's a lot to read. I guess this is intimidating for somebody who just wants to post content.
Definitely.
I mean, I first thought about Steemit as a way to migrate and create my own blog on it. Maybe establish a new sort of series that was dedicated to this cryptocurrency enthusiastic crowd. So for the first couple of months, I had a blog about cryptocurrencies, and I was commenting news and stuff. And that actually helped me get my first job as a cryptocurrency writer, which I did not expect.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess I can write a testimonial or something. But it was good practice.
You definitely should.
Because I was getting feedback from people who actually are knowledgeable in the field, and I got to better myself. It was like the process of learning for the first time, and it was safe. If I was writing something good, I would get some nice rewords. If it wasn't that great, I would get some good feedback. So it's helpful.
It definitely is. And I think that's, one of the key things to, again, brag about our community is that everyone is, I feel like, their heart is in the right place. The goals of the more people we bring in, the more developers that we bring in to build their app on the blockchain, that's just going to create such a bigger, better ecosystem for all of us here. So, I do hope people understand that they can tap into community members like Marky Mark and others, because you just sometimes need to sit down and just talk to somebody and just say, sit down and, okay, explain this to me, in layman's terms. If you read it, that's one thing, but talking to someone who's used the application for a while, it just goes a long way than just reading, on our website.
What about other applications that are built on top of Steemit, like Dtube and Utopian? Are they owned by Steemit, or are they part of some kind of community project?
No, they are not owned by Steemit. They basically, have their own application and run it off of the Steem blockchain. Like I did mention, because, Utopian and Dtube and Oracle D and Steem Monsters, like they're getting so much traffic that's why our usage grew. And so people like Utopian, they may have already moved over to their own API, but no, they are just third-party apps who, wanted to create an application built on a blockchain. And because of our open source technology and our support, it makes it a very friendly place for developers to come over and build on our blockchain. And again, the more people and users that are using all of these applications, Steemit.com is an application on the Steem blockchain. So the more people and businesses that we get to build their application, just the better and bigger the ecosystem is. So yeah, one of the things too that we want to incorporate is how to leverage our advertising program with our third-party apps. So for example, Steam Monsters, I don't know if you have been on our website lately, you may have seen some of their banner ads. Again, right now, advertisements are only being shown to non-logged in users. Once the wallet split is 100% live, then logged in and non-logged in users will see ads. But we did a test with Steam Monsters because we get so much traffic to steemit.com. There should be a way to, if I'm a gaming company and I run across steemit.com, I'm looking for a blockchain game, but I haven't heard about Steam Monsters. But then all of a sudden I come to steemit.com and there's the Steam Monsters banner ad. Oh, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for. They can then click on the banner and get in touch with Steam Monsters, or even on our advertising form that you can fill out. Eventually we will have a thing that will say, I want to advertise 100% on Steemit, or I want to advertise on Steemit, and all these other, you'll have a choice of Dtube, Utopia, and Steam Monsters, so that everyone can take advantage of the great traffic that we get on steemit.com, because again, that's just going to help the total ecosystem at Steam.
Yeah, sure. I remember when I first started that the section which is called Introduce Yourself was the hottest, and a lot of people were joining every day and saying, I do this, I have this talent, I like to travel and post pictures, I like to write music, I like to just write poetry or novels, or I just like to share thoughts about these topics. So it was exciting, and it was a great way to make some friends around the time. It slowed down, I think, in the process.
Yeah, definitely. I think, again, just the interface itself isn't user friendly. And so onboarding and keeping people engaged and coming back, retention is just an issue, which we're working on. And again, with the way the market was, I think people maybe lost interest in crypto for a while, but I feel like that interest is really ramping back up. I think things like South by Southwest here that, I don't know how long ago they started covering crypto, but I don't remember seeing so many events around cryptocurrency, and this, all the conferences around the world happening on a weekly basis. Like, the interest hasn't gone down. We just need to reinvigorate interest in steemit.com. And again, I think the improvements that we're going to make to it will help do that. And then us communicating, hey, we've made all these, like, come back to Steemit, like, things are really great and happening here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know that there's also the option to install some kind of plugin, so you have your content also shared on Steemit. And when I think about it, Steemit is a great way to register your content on a blockchain, and also a way that is not KYC, so you don't have to sign up with your real name, with your phone number and real email to have something immortalized on a blockchain. I think it's really great.
Definitely. Yeah.
So it's privacy friendly. That's something I appreciate about it. And if I open a website and I start a blog, but also make sure that the posts get published on Steemit, then at least I know that I have some kind of backup for the content. So that's, for me, that's a big reason to merge. At least maybe I split the audience, but I also earn a new audience on Steemit.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you said is 100% accurate. I think, our goal is to, say a top influencer on YouTube, or, someone on Twitter that has 1 million plus followers. I mean, we want them to come over to steemit.com. Not saying that they can't use their, where they built their fan base from, but I think getting them to share that same great content on the blockchain, because it'll never be gone, just makes perfect sense. So hopefully, that the adaption is going to happen more rapidly. I think once the market turns around, we're going to see a huge shift. So I think it's great that we have this time to make the dedicated improvements to, again, if you get someone who's not a crypto enthusiast, not a crypto expert, not a developer, they're just a great content curator. When they come to Steemit.com, they're going to have the great experience. They're going to feel welcome. They're going to feel like they can use the system, what it's intended for, and want to come back day in and day out and bring, their great followers with them.
Do you also intend to limit the amount of bots that you have in the system? Because at some point it seemed to me like there were too many of them, and one for every specific task, which in a sense removed the community involvement. So if you have a bot that checks for something instead of the community, then you're disincentivizing people to participate and engage with the content.
Yeah, we actually had an all-team meeting here 2 weeks ago, and that issue was brought up. And so we may be looking, I don't want to say right now because a decision hasn't been made, but we're evaluating the whole bot system because we agree it's not, it's just becoming more of a problem than helping people out. So be looking for updates for that to come. I'm going to put that again on my to-do list to make sure that we're following up on that. But that, yes, bots is a big topic on our list. So yeah, I'll follow up with that.
Yeah, because I think Steemit has a really great SEO. So when you look up something, even if you have a website on which you post articles, I guess it's more likely for the Steemit article to show up, just like in the case of Medium and other platforms where you share content. When you have this network effect, it's very nice to have a platform where you have your content prioritized and you know that you're going to have it for a longer time than the hosting that you pay for.
Yeah, exactly. Agree with you on
I also want to ask you something about the Steem token.
that.
And maybe that you're not in charge directly of doing this, but are there any plans to list it on new exchanges or make new partnerships with services that allow you to exchange the Steem token in something like Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Yes, so we do have someone dedicated for exchange relations. That's not just our existing exchanges, but also trying to get listed on new prominent exchanges. It's a lot of it is you can just simply pay and be listed. But we're hoping that people see the value in our token just as much as anyone else versus just saying, here's 25,000, list us on your exchange. To me, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we are constantly doing outreach, proactively reaching out to the top exchanges, telling them, all the great unique selling points for Steem. And then anytime we have a big technology update, we obviously have to be in touch with exchanges to make sure they get everything that they need to make the update. So yeah, we have a new business person dedicated. It's not as easy as you think, which is interesting because with Steem, and as long as we've been around and made it through the different cycles of the market and actually having a real product like Steemit.com, but then all the other, we have over 300 apps built on the blockchain. It's interesting that we aren't just more readily listed on some of the top exchanges. Because we have something that you can actually use and exchange. So but yeah, exchanges are always a top priority for us.
Yeah, I guess you should also focus on the community involvement in this regard. But whenever you have better marketing, I guess that also helps to promote your features in a way that seems attractive. I mean, which bloggers wouldn't want to join a platform which rewards them with a financial incentive that they can spend in a way or maybe exchange for a different type of currency? That sounds really good. And I can see why you're not using Bitcoin, because it wouldn't make sense with the fees and it would take more time and you would clog the blockchain. It makes sense to have your own currency which has no fees for this. But I was actually wondering at some point, if the Lightning Network of Bitcoin grows to the extent that it becomes ubiquitous, how do you pronounce that?
Ubiquitous?
Yeah, I know
Ubiquitous.
how to write it, but I haven't pronounced it in a long time. But if it's everywhere and everybody uses it, would you consider to add it to the Steem platform as an alternative to the Steem token?
I don't know. I've never been asked that question before, and I haven't heard that in any of the discussions. So that's an interesting thought that, yeah, I'll ask the team about that.
Yeah, I guess it's a point about preserving your own currency
Right.
or prioritizing the platform over the currency, I guess. So at some
Right.
point, you'll have to choose maybe if Steem isn't that successful as you want it to be, if you want to adopt a different type of currency which has a greater community and might bring a different crowd to use your platform, or if you want to stick to the fundamentals that led to the creation of your platform.
Right. Yeah. I definitely think once we get the UX, the user
Experience.
experience, the whole interface, where it really does become like the Reddit of, with crypto backed behind those rewards. I really think that could be a game changer. And so, I mean, obviously, we want, Steem currency to be right up there in the top 10. And so right now that's my goal, is to improve just the overall, our app, help the process for our developers, making sure that it's just as easy for them to create their own app on our blockchain. Um, yeah, I mean, I just see that as our main priority. Um, but yeah, who's to say that if, say we create this, the platform is just light years ahead. It's a great experience. You've got these community functionalities, built with financial tools that, online communities never had before. Who's to say what could happen next as far as, the different types of currency?
Okay, let's play a game. Let's assume
Okay.
that I'm just a random guy you meet on the street who has never heard of Steemit but knows how to blog and how to use social networks. And maybe that I have a Twitter, a Reddit, and a Facebook account. How would you convince me to join Steemit?
Well, I would, first of all, and we'll assume that you have how many followers?
I don't know, maybe 1,000 or something.
Okay. So obviously you would have a community following, like people would, they're following your content for a reason because they have a mutual interest in the things that you're talking about, right? And with the way advertising is working now on all these other platforms, these content creators, are having to have second jobs. And so at some point, people have to make a decision, a very tough decision. Do I stop what I love doing and what all these people, love and value, and from this community perspective, because I can't financially support myself? Or do I go go somewhere like Steemit.com that has already over 1 million users, where I can make my same great community, but with this financial inclusion, with these financial tools that give me the ability to, not only, support myself, but encourage everyone in my community by rewarding them and just rewarding people to, again, be good citizens in my community, to help, um, you know, keep the content as great and honest and authentic as it should be. So really it's, creating a vibrant community, expounding the boundaries of a community coordination, online discussion with this cryptocurrency as an incentive, all while being on this open source platform that's going to keep my content, but also it's private. I don't have to worry about Steemit or the blockchain, selling my data. That's just not going to happen. So the number of reasons of why you would want to come to Steemit.com definitely outweigh the reasons not to. And so I would encourage people to get involved as soon as possible, because the market, if it were to turn around, then you've got your community already established, and you've got some content built up, and you've got a great following, and it could just really help, just change the way we see the world from a social media experience, from a content curation, from rewarding people for putting out all this great stuff that people use for free. That's just, it's insane. So yeah, I feel like the positive reasons definitely outweigh the negative.
I just got this thought while you're speaking of the advantages of Steemit, and I was wondering, do you have any sort of censorship in place, or is it the community that decides which posts should not be there, and there's a reporting system which downvotes articles to the extent that they don't get added to the blockchain?
Right. Yeah. So the communities do moderate the witnesses. That's part of their role. But definitely it's the community who, will flag things for not being good Steemians, good content, good material for people to see. So yeah, it is self-governing. We do have in our terms of service, we do reserve the right if need be, but the idea is, yeah, the self-governance of the community from a censorship perspective. But there are, certain circumstances where, and again, it's in our terms, where we reserve the right to remove any malicious or just, again, the scenario. It just depends on the scenario, but yeah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're competing with platforms like Gab, which takes pride in welcoming every type of opinion as long as it's not threatening.
Yeah, I don't know that we would be, because I don't know that we really promote the censorship aspect as much as more the crypto rewards aspect. So, maybe that's one of those messages that needs to come up a little bit, and priorities from a messaging standpoint is the censorship. It's in there, but it's not one of the key takeaways.
Sure, it makes sense. And you want the community to have as many good actors as possible.
Exactly. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
something else of which I thought right now is, do you think there is a way to make the community members become good actors in the sense that they only upvote content that is of high quality? Because otherwise you can find methods of, you like my content, I like yours, and this way we're both going to get steam. And in a sense, that's not really fair.
Right. So are you asking, like, do I think that happens now, or?
I'm asking in general, as do you think there is some kind of strategy that you can implement with users to make them only upvote for the content that they think is of high quality? Because you can sometimes dodge this system and just erratically vote for whatever you want to, even if you don't read it, or invent some kind of schemes to exchange as much steam as possible and accumulate for yourself and maybe a few friends. And how can you discourage this? That's, I guess, part of the question has to deal with human nature and transforming participants into honest actors.
Yeah, it'd be great if everyone acted like that. I think that's the whole premise, and the ideal behind it is that people will act in good faith and be good actors, and that if people aren't, then they are removed. But who's to say if there isn't a community or a content creator who is, saying, hey, you like upvote all my stuff, and I'm going to upvote your stuff, and in the end, we're all going to win. I couldn't tell you if that happens. But yeah, the idea is that the overall idea for, moving on this blockchain technology, moving for, the whole transparency of things really does just naturally make people want to act in the better way than a bad way, because it's all out there for everyone to see forever. And so it only behooves people to act in everyone's best interest. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, there is no easy way to answer it. There is no pattern to fix that issue. You just have
Mhm.
to improvise and maybe find good community members who can act as content curators and make sure, and you already have that with witnesses.
And it's pretty obvious, when there's a bad post, it gets quickly taken down. So just by the community. So it's always kind of fun to watch some things play out. Because some days you're like, wow, that's top trending, or wow, that this person actually posted that, and then the next thing you know, it's you don't see it anymore. So
Yeah, it happens.
mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of mediocre content get praises, and I could never understand why.
Yeah, again, I think those are some things in the future, to make sure the system is doing what it was intended to do. I mean, the whole idea is really looking down the road that everything is open source and everything is blockchain. I mean, I think that um, just creates a very different dynamic. And so I think by understanding some of the minutia that around all that, why does this content get more rewards versus that or this, like, those are just some of the things that we're digging back into. Because I would say, I mean, for several months, our focus really wasn't much on Steemit.com. Like I said, we were working on some research and development on some other applications. And so our priorities had shifted quite a bit, but now we are fully back on prioritizing Steemit.com, the blockchain, and just all things good about both of those.
I remember something really cool from my early days on Steemit when I saw that there was a guy who was basically traveling the world with the donations he was receiving and the upvotes he was getting from other users. And all he had to do was to just write blog posts about his journey. And I thought that was really cool. In my mind, it was, okay, this is a new way of monetizing your stuff, and you can actually become successful as a writer or as an author by presenting your content to this new audience. And I remember I recommended the platform to a few friends, and one of them has started to write articles about Austrian economics and topics that are very
Wow.
technical, but he wasn't successful and he gave up.
Well, he needs to come back. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the number of nonprofits that are on Steemit, it's amazing. And some of these stories that I find are just, and we need to do a better job of communicating and bringing these stories up to the surface. Surfer Marley, she is a very prominent Steemian. The money she raises from her content helps put together these, summer camps where she incorporates surfing with, I want to say it's literacy. Don't kill me, Surfer Marley, if I got that wrong, but all of that is funded through Steem. I mean, and that's just, there's a good 100 of them out there that are simply trying to find a way to fundraise their cause. And that's why, again, I keep harping on communities. That is really, and then eventually SMTs, where people can create their own token for fundraising or, what have you. But that's going to really be a game changer. And so I'm excited to see people who have a passion, regardless of what that is, if they have a financial need, like this is a way for them to be rewarded, but to reach their goals and achieve so many great things. Whereas without this, they couldn't have, like their day job couldn't help fund this other special project, whether it's, literacy or, anything. They just, they couldn't do a GoFundMe to put on this, build a building for a community center, but with their Steemit account, they're able to blog every Sunday. We'll just say it's a church, the amazing sermons, and this group came together and they're all of a sudden able to raise money and build a new facility. I mean, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's incredible that nowadays you can monetize anything that can be considered valuable or
Yeah.
interesting by others. So we are living very fascinating times.
We
Also, how
really,
does Steemit treat podcasts and maybe short YouTube shows? Because I might be interested to put some new
Um,
content.
I would say check out Dtube. That's your go-to guy. That is on our list. However, is to incorporate, what kind of video functionality can we add to Steemit.com. But right now, I would highly encourage you to reach out to Dtube.
Okay, sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely. They're great guys too. So if you need introductions, I'm very happy to do so.
So I'm not sure if I have any more questions. We have been speaking for almost 1 hour. If you have anything to ask me, I'm here and open.
I would just say I would like it, you're a great case study. So you're one who you came to Steemit.com, you started blogging, you had your Star Wars post that was really well received, but then you lost traction and then you got frustrated, I'm out. So, I would love to hear more about, and not, you don't have to do it right now because I do have a call in another minute. Things like the top 10 things that you felt as a user of Steemit.com, if I would have had these or however many number of things or questions that you have, that kind of input can really help us moving forward, from communications, from functionality, you name it. So I would just love to be able to reach back out to you and have conversations to just learn more about your experience, and so that we can take that experience and improve the process and help more people and get you back in. I want you back on Steemit.com blogging regularly.
Yeah, I'll try. I don't have much time nowadays, but I can try to get back. Also,
Well,
if you have anything that you have to announce or anything interesting to publish, we are cryptocurrency journalists, so let us know. I haven't seen much from Steemit lately, and I don't think there was any article on Crypto Insider covering it. And that's a pity, because I think it's a nice platform.
I do too. I check out the site regularly, and so just from a communications perspective, where we were and where we are now, we had really ramped up communications, from social media to public relations, special events, things like that. Once everything shifted early December, we really did kind of put a halt on all communications, just until we got our roadmap in place. And so we are now, Andrew Levine is now head of communications. We are definitely being way more proactive. We don't do so much like your typical press releases, but anytime there's a new update, we put that on the Steemit.com updates log. And so I could easily link you up with that, so that anytime we do announce something, that you will be alerted to that, so that you guys can cover it as well.
Yeah, that would be nice, because there is a huge community and there are a lot of people interested in what's going on with Steemit, and maybe that they don't check the Steemit blog per se and would rather read something which is summarized in a news article. So yeah, that can be helpful. And also,
Yeah.
one last question before you move on to the next call. Is Dan Larimer still involved in Steemit in any way?
No, he is not.
Okay, that removes a lot of rumors and speculation, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, he is not. So Ned Scott is now executive chairman of the board. We have 4 board members, and then we have a leadership team focusing on Steemit.com. Everything from just the business perspective, from the advertising, from the engineering team, all of those. So yeah, it's a smaller team, obviously, than we had a couple months ago, but it's a very senior level team, very experienced team. We're all on the same page, all behind the roadmap. I encourage people to look at our, there's a About Steemit on Steemit.com on the menu, where you can read more about our mission, vision, and values, as well as the roadmap. The specifics are in there. So if you haven't seen that, that will give you a lot of good background information.
Okay, I'll take a look. So thank you very much. This was enlightening in a way. I found out so much more that I don't think I would have found out another way. And I hope that whoever listens to this interview will find interesting information about Steemit. And I look forward to keeping in touch, as I guess this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship like the end of Casablanca.
I love it. It was so nice meeting you. It's just been a pleasure talking to you and discussing Steemit, and I want to keep our dialogue going. So if you ever need another interview or want an update, just shoot me a note, and I'll make sure that I get the time right. For some reason, I didn't get the invite on my calendar. I don't know. So always happy to talk to you. So just, yeah, let's keep the dialogue and the friendship going.
Okay, so I'll see you later, Miss Powell.
Okay. Thank you, Vlad. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.